Hi everyone, welcome back to the Internet Storyteller, where we share the latest, greatest, and most horrific internet stories. Our first story for today is entitled Mom Pulls Fire Alarm in Crowded Indoor Water Park and Hurls a Cake at Security. Okay, so we've got some fire alarms and some cake involved in this story. Hello everyone. I worked for a few years as a front desk supervisor at a hotel attached to an indoor water park. I have lots of stories involving entitled parents, entitled kids, and tons of crazies, but this entitled mom was one of the worst. I didn't deal with her personally, but I had to deal with her aftermath, and the head of security and the water park told me the whole story. It was dead of winter, late February, and due to freezing cold, the indoor water park attracted lots of families. It was a packed Saturday, but after the check-in rush, the lobby was a ghost town. I was working the front desk alone, shooting the breeze with the security guards when a call came over the radio from the water park. Our head of security, we'll call him Don, was a stocky bear of a guy and the king of calm authority. He could look down at a rowdy crowd and they'd stop cold, but he knew how to handle himself if they didn't. He calmly walked down the hall to the water park, rookie security guard in tow, and I waited for them to come back with the story. They were gone less than 10 minutes and the fire alarm started blaring. I hear Ron yell over the radio it was a false alarm and to bring the shuttles around to pick up water park guests, and my heart sank. It was past 10 p.m. and at least negative 10 degrees outside, and a whole bunch of soaking wet people must have walked out into the cold, not to mention a horde of angry guests upstairs. Thankfully, the alarm was diffused quickly and we caught most people from leaving the lobby, and the shuttles circled the building to intercept any guests who went outside with warm blankets. After a bit, Don and the rookie returned. The rookie was splattered with cake and holding a bandage on his hand, and Don dives into the story. Entitled Mom was hosting her 8-year-old's traumatized kid's birthday in the water park. Our catered birthday package included cake, pizza, and all-day water park passes for the party guests. Entitled Mom took that as, "You can watch my kid," and spent the day harassing the lifeguards to bring her fresh towels and drinks, claiming too many seats for her friends, and generally ignoring her daughter. The trouble really started around 10 p.m. because the restaurant and bar closed, and Entitled Mom suddenly wanted to go home. She couldn't see her daughter, it was a large park. So Entitled Mom started screaming and cussing loudly for her to get out of the water. Lifeguards tried to quiet her down, but she angrily pushed past them, threatening her daughter. Entitled Mom says, "Traumatized kid, you better get out of the water. You have until the count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Security arrived just as she shouted 3, walked calmly to the wall, and before they realized what she was doing, she pulled the fire alarm. Entitled Mom says, "Now everyone has to get out because you didn't listen. This is your fault, traumatized kid." The lifeguards and security were stunned, but they quickly went after her, and she ran back to the party balcony. Entitled Mom said, "Get away from me. You were too lazy to get her out, so I had to." Mind you, she was wearing a swimsuit and could have easily gone in the park to get her child. The rookie starts going for her, and Entitled Mom picks up the leftover cake from the party and hurls the tray at him and the lifeguards. When the rookie reeled back in surprise, she tackled him. Don managed to rip her off by the scruff of the neck and subdue her, but she managed to get a nice deep bite on Rookie's hand. Oh my goodness. The police were called and entitled mom was arrested for assault, and traumatized kid was taken home by her aunt. I spent the rest of the night calming down furious guests with frightened or freezing children, but it felt good to know entitled mom was arrested. Let me know if you want more. I've got lots. The end. Wow, so, in this story, I really feel bad for the traumatized kid. I mean, to have a parent like that, I can only imagine that traumatized kid's childhood must be very tough. Here's hoping the best for the traumatized kid. I hope he or she turns out okay. Or she turns out okay. It was a daughter. Okay. The second story is entitled, I need to go ahead of you in line. I have a child. You know the drill here. As the title suggests, I was standing in line at the grocery store waiting. I was holding a box of Pop-Tarts and 3 tins of cat food. I heard someone push their cart up behind me in line, and I moved up a couple more steps to give them room. The person behind me cleared their throat. I remained facing forward because, well, why would I have turned around? The person behind me cleared their throat again, a far more fake and ahem sort of throat clear, so I turned my head to look at them and smile, not quite sure what's going on. Entitled mom says, I need to get ahead of you in line. I say, I'm sorry? Entitled mom says, I need to go ahead of you in line. I then look at her cart, which is stacked, and then at the few things I'm holding in my hands and hold them up a bit before replying. I say, I just have a few things. It'll be super quick. Entitled mom says, I have a child with me. If you haven't noticed, I need to go first. I look again, and there is a baby carrier in front of the cart, and the child is fast asleep. Now, if someone had come up behind me in line with a screaming child they were trying their best to comfort to no avail, I would have stepped out of line and let them go ahead of me without them having asked, no question. But to have some lady push up behind me with a sleeping child, a crammed cart of food, and demand to go ahead of me because they had a child, I'm not as keen, so I shake my head. I say, no, I'm sorry, I've been waiting here for a bit and I'd like to get out. I only have a few things and will be quick. I turn back around then and face towards the cashier, and the lady behind me starts huffing and scoffing like she's just totally disgusted with me for being so selfish. She shifts her cart around, making pained noises like it was just too much for her to bear with. And I start to feel uncomfortable and like this wasn't worth the argument, and maybe I should just let her go ahead of me. Then the cashier catches my eye and gives me this kind of evil smile and reaches over and hands me her "please use the next cashier" sign and asks me to put it behind my things when I set them down. She then calls over me to disgruntled mom and tells her she'll have to get into a different line because she was closing her line after me. Entitled mom just lets loose with the curse words, wheels the cart around hard enough that a bunch of stuff falls off the top. Her child predictably wakes up and starts crying while she's picking up her things. I'm guessing I looked rather bewildered because the cashier laughed at me and said quietly, I'm a mom with 3 kids. I hate it when other moms use their kids like they're some sort of disability that entitles them to special treatment. I leave rather happy that not every parent in the world is entitled. Okay, the end. You know what? That's a great story because, we've had a lot of fun with entitled parent stories, but I think that this story goes to show that, not all parents are entitled, so I think this story allows us to have a bit of balance on this channel. Okay, I hope you guys have enjoyed these stories. If you enjoyed these stories, please feel free to subscribe and like these videos, and I'll try to update pretty regularly throughout the week. Thank you so much. I am the Internet Storyteller, and I'll see you guys next time. Also, links to all the stories in the comments below, or in the description below. Thank you so much. Bye.